What's it up, guys? Sarfo Carbell once again, and welcome back. Guys, let's just jump straight into the video. So we have been able to do a lot. We're able to get our navigation button here, and we're able to add our CSS nicely to it. If I should inspect right now, realize that if we click the button, we are adding and removing our classes using JavaScript, and I think just about 15 lines of JavaScript, and then that was good to go. Now the thing is that the whole concept behind why we did all of that is whenever we add our classes to it, we are going to style those classes so that whenever the classes are being added, we are going to see some animations. You know, it looks confusing, right? It sounds confusing, is that not it? Just wait, let me show you. So let's just jump right into it. So this is what I'm going to do. Realize that this button here, we said whenever we click on it, we are going to add a class of close to the what? The nav button. Okay, this is it. Add a class of what? Close to the nav button. So I'm going to come here and say dot nav button, that's the nav btn, the class that we gave, and then dot close. Alright, let me just say transform, and let me say rotate. I want to rotate it in an angle of 360 degrees. End it there and save. Now let's look at what happens when I click. What just happened? Can you see? Okay, can you see the wonderful spin animation going on there? Yeah, you're happy. That is what I'm talking about. So just because I added this styling to this particular class, whenever the class is being added, by triggering it by clicking on it here, that animation is what is going to happen. But that's not what we have on the very main one. Look at the very main one. It spins around this way, and then we have an X. Our lines cross into a Wakanda X here. Is it Wakanda? Okay, so let's go. Let's look at how we can also get that one accomplished. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say dot nav btn as usual, dot close, and then I'm going to select the lines of the dot close. That means when it's having that close class on it, I want to select the lines in there. So then the dot lines like this. So this is the first child, and I want to say background color on red. Let me just illustrate that to you. So this is the nth child, the sibling, the child selector. So this lines has 3 children. I want to select the child that is the first one. So let's see what happens when I click on it. Whoa, this is the main one. Let's come here. Okay, it's already. So if it happens to what? To become red, and then that's it. It looks so easy, and I love it. I'll copy it down 3 times, and then I'll make this one the second child, and then I'll make this one the 3rd child, and then I'll save it. So they are all red here, but there is no transition. So I'm going to come here and just say I want to add a transition of 0.4 seconds. That's is it 400 milliseconds, and I save that. So that becomes much nicer. And realize that there's also transition here that we added in the previous video. Guys, if you haven't checked out the previous video, please, I recommend that you go to check that out so that you see how we added the classes, because this will be actually like the whole effort will be futile if you don't get that video. So just click on the card you see at the top corner there, check that video out, come and let's continue, let's kick it going. So the next I don't want to be adding colors. What I want to do is I want to cause them to be in an X form. So I'm going to have some movement and some stuff going on here. So I'm going to say transform, and I'm going to say I want to rotate it in an angle of 45 degrees, and then I'm also going to translate, that's move it, translate it 0 pixels on the X and then 0 pixels on the Y. Control S, save it. So I'm going to copy everything here, Control C, come down here, and then Control V and save it. So if I should just click right now, look how it looks already amazing. So I'll make this part negative 45 degrees. So I'm going to show you a trick of how I get my values, the perfect values that you are seeing. I'm going to show you the trick, and then it's not a trick, actually how it's supposed to be done to make your work much easier and then much faster. Okay, so this is it. So there is 6 pixels here, and then it is also 6 pixels here, and then this is 6 pixels here, and then this is also negative 7 pixels here. And then in here I want to have opacity set on it. Opacity talks about how much like transparency and then opaque. So if you have opacity of 1, it is opaque and visible, and if you have opacity of 0, that means it is actually not visible. So as you can see, when I click like this, and it comes here like this, and it comes here. So this I'm going to inspect, and then I'll go here. So here's how I do it, and this is how I go about it. If you look at it very well, let me click. Yeah, so now the class of clothes has been added to it, and this is the first line. Take a look at something. If I should come and look at the transform, you see this and this here. When I took it off, I realized that it has cancelled out. Look at what's happening here as well, causing that thing. So when I come here, then I come and play with the figures. So if it was 6, I could just come here and press up and see the values, and also here and see the values. I move them around until I get the perfect cross to go. So that's how you go about it. These values that you saw me just input here are values that I've actually, it's because I've been I've already coded this and I took my time, so I know the exact values that I'm supposed to put here. And that's pretty much it. So that's all the little lines of CSS that we need to cause this wonderful rotating menu button here. So let's just get straight and let's see how we can also just do this sliding down how do I call it, nav menu. Is that not it? Let's show. Now I'm going to come here and do something that I should have done a while ago, and it's called the media query. So the media queries is where you write your responsive code. That means if you change from a desktop and now you're looking at it from a smartphone or maybe a tablet, these codes will kick in to cause some changes. Confusing? Let me explain to you. So you start by saying at media, and then you say screen, and then what else? And then you open a bracket like this and just type max width of 768. That's pixels. That's like the max, mostly the width that comes with tablets, but then it will automatically apply for smartphones as well. So I'll show you something. I'm going to say body, and I'll say display of none. So body shouldn't display, and let me save it. What happened? There is nothing showing right here. But if I should try to expand it and it passes that 368 pixels mark, what happened? And now everything is visible. If I should drop within that range, it's invisible. If I should come here, it becomes what? Visible. And that's what media queries do. They help us write responsive code, and the thing is used everywhere. So with this code, it's telling us that whenever we are within a maximum width of 768 pixels, I want you to apply this set of codes. So these codes only apply when we are within a width of 768 pixels. Less or less, more, it doesn't apply. So obviously I don't want this to happen. So I'll clear it and save it. Now everything comes back to normal. I'll go back to my the top here, and then for the nav button, I'm going to say display of none, because when we are on a normal screen, I don't want to display. I want it only to display if we are in tablet or mobile view. So I can come here and just say nav btn, and I'll say display. I want display of block holder. So now it's actually displaying. But once I get past that width, it's not, the nav button is no longer displaying. Cool, right? Yeah. So if you just saw this and you are smiling, you're like, hey, how did they do that? Smash that thumbs up button and put a bigger smile on my face. Let's continue. So let's see how we can actually create a navigation. It's quite simple, and this I'm going about. I'm going to just select this. I'm going to say dot nav menu, which we actually gave in the HTML, and I'm going to say width, of course, 100%, and I'm going to say height of, also the height is the thing. I want a height of 300 pixels, and then I want the background. The background had that gradient overlay that we saw here, so I'm going to add that background here. So I'm going to say background, and I'm going to say linear gradient to left bottom comma, and then you type the colors that you want. So the first color I want is white, that's FFF. Second color is our variable, that's our greenish color, which we said it was color what was the primary. And let me end, save it, and let's see. So That is it, looking already as it's supposed to look, and looking as it's supposed to look. Yeah. So the thing is that I want the navigation to be only the nav list, this list, not the whole menu, because I see that the logo has also moved, overwriting what we had there. So I think it should be nav list, not nav menu. Save it. Yeah, so it's a nav list that is actually causing that thing. So realize that it is still within the scope and it hasn't gone elsewhere. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use what we call position. I'm going to say position, and I'm going to cause this one to be fixed. Now, when you set something to fixed, position to fixed or absolute, it takes it out of the normal document flow. Saving that right now. Look at what just happened. A frame. It is now. Let me comment this and save it. It is still within the document flow. Okay. Well, it is an experience element. But once I save it here, and then let me just say top 0, and then left also 0, and I save it. It is out of the document flow now. It is on its own. It's a big boy, and it is now on its own. Let's go. You don't understand? Let me know in the comment section below if this didn't go well, so like I can help you guys out. All right. So the next thing I'm going to say display of flex, which we talked about. What it does automatically, everything becomes horizontal, but we don't want that. We want flex direction to be in a columnar form. So I say flex direction column. That's also got saved. And I say align items center. Save it. You see what happened? It's now aligned was in the center. The next thing is justify content, also now center. We don't want space between on it, so it's now justified what in the center. And then finally I'm going to say list style of none, and then boom, voila, I have this ready. Look at, let's compare it to this. It's almost already well done. What do we do next? Okay, so the next thing is that I want this thing to also be on top. Nothing should ever come on top of it, and I'm going to ensure that using what we call, or they call, Z index, which I've already explained just right now. All right, I'll give you Z index of 9. The 11 was for the nav button, so the nav button is on top of that, followed by this when it comes in, then the nav bar itself. And then one thing I want to add is I want to add some box shadow to give it the feeling or the look that it is actually on top of something. So I'm going to say box shadow of 0 pixels on the Y, 1 rem on the X, and then 1 rem also blur. And then I'm just going to type black for now. But thanks to VS Code, I can just hover on this and change the opacity down to somewhere 4. Save it, and then that feeling of it's on top of something comes in. So guys, we're almost there. Let's just wrap up quickly and then we can go. I want to add transition, but I'll wait because of something. And then I'm going to go to .navbar .nav list, then .nav link. These are the links. And I'm going to say so guys, that's pretty much it for now. You know, I was going to start the nav links, but I think the nav links, whether they are on the desktop or whichever screen, they are the same. So I'll rather not start them here. I'll start them where they can be applied for all. So I'll come back to the top here, somewhere around here, and then I can just add that. So I'm just going to say .nav list, .nav link. These are the links. I'm going to say color. I want the color to be black. 000, not 000. Let's go back there. Save it. Save this one. Display. I want a display of inline block because this is an inline element. So displaying block allows you to take padding, allows it to take all those kind of stuff. Otherwise, if you add padding, it will be futile. You won't see anything. And then I want to say test decoration of none to take away the underline. Save it. Underline is gone. I'm going to say padding. So I'll say margin bottom. I want the margin bottom to be. I want the margin to be 0 pixels top and bottom, and then also 2 rem left and right. Save that, and then margin bottom of like 1 rem. Obviously, you know what this does. It's going to overwrite the one at the top there. Font size of 1.6 rem. We're almost there. let's look at the main one. You see, we're almost there. So imagine here 2 rem. So yeah, so that's it. Looking almost ready. And then I want to add that. Let me copy all of this. Control C and then Control V. When you hover on it, I want the color to be VAR color primary. Yeah, I want the color to be that green. And I don't think the black I use here is enough. I'll change that and I'll just say VAR and I'll say color secondary. So guys, that's it. When I hover it, let me add the transition to make it, to give it that transition of 0.4 seconds. This. So that's it. If I should go to the bigger screen, it looks this way, and then that is something that I'm going to fix here. So .nav list here. I'm going to just say list star of none, and then display of flex, and then let me see what happens on a bigger screen. So that's it, already looking as it's supposed to look. But then as you can see, you realize that this one, they appear to be above there, and that is because I can see margin bottom of 2 rem here. If I should, yeah, now they are neatly centered here. So I'll probably just copy this. Let me see if we went to a smaller screen here. Yeah, this one is looking pretty much packed. So I just go back to my media quick queries here and just going to say .nav list .nav link. I'm going to say margin bottom of 2 rem, and then I think that should fix that. But I realized that when I click, there's nothing happening here. There is no movement occurring. That was not what we intended to do. What we intended to do is that this shouldn't be showing as of now. So when I click, now it shows, and then this is here. And remember that when we went to our JavaScript, we said that when we click, we are going to add a show class to the nav list, the nav menu, and the nav list, and that's what we're going to use to cause this wonderful animation. So let's get that one also done. I'm just going to go back straight up to my nav list here, and please pay attention. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add transform, and I'm going to use transform 3D. Translate 3D. Alright, so it takes 3 values. It takes X, Y, and Z. Let's look at it. I'm going to press 0 for now, and then 0. So you know what X does? Movement on the X axis, Y is movement on the Y axis, and Z is movement on the Z axis. That's the stack. So imagine I just change this 100 here to 100%. It has actually moved. It has moved somewhere. It has moved what? That's X. It has moved to the X side by what? 100. Let me just take away 10, and you know that now you see the movement. It is moving to on the X side here 100 times. If I should make it negative right now, it will move the other way around. And then if I should bring back to 0, you don't see any movement. All right. So that's the trick we are going to be using here to cause that motion and that wonderful animation. So I'll come here, and then I'm going to say .nav list .show. That's the class that we said we should add when the button is clicked. And I'm going to Control C, copy it, and then bring it here, Control V, and then I'll save it. So at the beginning, it should move Y. Let's go to the Y. So there's the Y column. It should move negative 100%. Let me take the negative so that you see something. It should move 100%. But when I click, I want it to move. There's no animation. Let me add that transition of 0.4 seconds, and then save it. So when I click, it moves. When I click, it moves back here. I hope this makes sense to you. So I've moved it here, but when I click it, I want it to come back to where it was originally. That was the 0000. When I click, it moves. And obviously we don't want it to be showing there, so it's going to add the negative here for it to move what upwards. So when I click, it goes back, and once I click, it comes. When I click, it goes back. Once I click, it comes. When I click, it goes back. But I'm going to make it negative 110. Why? Because if you look at the top here, you can see the shadow from the bottom showing. when I save that, it moves much more further, and when I click, it comes. Like, that's all. That's pretty much it for all that wonderful responsive animation. So guys, that's all for this nav bar. It's pretty much quick, pretty easy, and then I hope you got something from this. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do want to subscribe so that the next video coming somewhere around here right now, you won't miss on it. Thank you so much for sticking to the very end, and without much ado, guys, I'm just going to catch you in the very next video that you are supposed to click here. Peace.